What a character wears can be very important, whether it's in a movie or TV show, or in this case, as we're discussing Persona 5, a video game. It's an integral part of character design. It can be a way to tell the audience everything you need to know about them at a glance. Their personality, the things they stand for, their place and standing in the world of the text, and, of course, what makes them stand out as important characters. You've probably seen the whole spot the main character joke when it comes to anime. So it begs the question, when your characters wear uniforms, how do you make them stand out? When often the biggest criticism of school uniforms is that they don't allow students to express their identities, how do you allow your characters to do that? In Persona 3 and 4, we can see several of our party members adding or changing a piece of their uniform to do this, most commonly having a different jacket or jumper. But Persona 5 takes things to the next level. It makes a lot of sense. A major theme of Persona 5 is rebellion, and what's the most obvious thing you can do to rebel and be different at school? Break the dress code, of course. Starting off with our protagonist, whatever you may call him. Personally, I'm a fan of Ren Amamiya. Akira Kurusu fans, be sure to tell me how much you prefer that name in the comments. I need all the engagement I can get. Funnily enough, we're actually beginning with the one character who wears his uniform perfectly. I think this is half due to the fact he is the protagonist, and thus needs to have a more projectable look to him. But remember, our boy's in a lot of trouble and he needs to do his best to fit in. I think the fact he's wearing glasses when he doesn't actually need them, sorry to burst your bubble if you weren't aware of that, in order to hide his scary eyes, is another perfect example of this. Looking at both the summer and winter versions of the Shujin uniform, we can see that everything's been followed to a T, including the jacket he wears in Persona 5 Royal's third semester, being the official Shujin uniform jacket. Of course, this all creates a nice contrast to the cool and suave look he has as Joker. I have very similar things to say about Ryuji and Ann, so I'm going to pair them together for the time being. These two are probably the most blatantly out of uniform and out of place looking members of the Phantom Thieves. I think it's important to make note of something that isn't their clothing first, and that is their hair. They're both blonde. Of course, Ann is naturally blonde, while Ryuji's hair is bleached, but I think it's interesting that blonde, seemingly being the most notably out of place hair colour, is a running theme in the Persona series. Hair colours like red and blue have no attention paid to them. Futaba's orange hair is confirmed to be dyed, but there's never a fuss made about it. Meanwhile, a character having blonde hair is a big deal and is always used as a symbol of being different or an outcast. Kanji and Ryuji both have bleached blonde hair and are seen as delinquents. Ann, Aigis and Lisa are all natural blondes, showing to the audience that they're foreigners. Ann being mixed as she's a quarter American and speculated to be Finnish as well, Lisa being just completely white, and Aigis being, well, a robot. So even without taking the way they dress into the equation, Ann and Ryuji immediately other themselves just through their hair. Having the reputations they do, it makes sense that they'd reach a point of just doing whatever they want with their uniforms too. Neither of them are wearing the correct shirts, both are wearing extra bright colours, Ryuji through his shirt and Ann through her tights, and neither are wearing the correct shoes. Speaking of Ryuji's shoes, the usage of the rising sun flag as a logo on them aroused controversy in South Korea, where the flag is still seen as an offensive symbol, and was removed from the Korean version of the game as well as, seemingly, the anime. Additional things of note in regards to Ryuji's uniform are his drop suspenders and rolled pant legs. Everything said about Ryuji's winter uniform also applies to his summer uniform, however the No More Rules shirt is quite on the nose. Ann's summer uniform is a bit more in line with the dress code, however her socks are still technically not correct, the jacket around her waist isn't either, she's not wearing her suspenders, and she does also have a necklace added to accessorize. Her red tights and her lower cut top in her winter uniform are also both reminiscent of her outfit as Panther. What's interesting is that Ann's extra wintry third semester uniform in Royal sees her actually wearing the correct turtleneck shirt. She's also no longer wearing the additional jacket underneath her blazer, although the very cute Letterman jacket she's wearing over top instead still isn't uniform. Now, originally, when I thought of this video idea, I didn't think I'd be including Yusuke, as he obviously wears a different uniform to the Shujin kids. However, upon looking at the Kosei uniform, I realised I do, in fact, have some things to talk about. Yusuke's uniform is quite unkempt, dishevelled even. He's not wearing his tie, and he clearly isn't very good at doing up buttons, as both his collar and his sleeves are undone. Perhaps to more easily roll them up should the inspiration to make art strike. I'm sure he'd rather not spend money trying to get paint stains out. His summer uniform has him wearing completely the wrong shirt, which you'll see is a running theme amongst the Phantom Thieves. Now, I was quite curious as to what all those keys he carries around are for. Do they have a practical purpose, or are they just for the aesthetic? So I looked it up and... No, but seriously, it is a fashion thing that I'm sure would also have a practical use if he actually needed all those keys, which I kinda doubt, to be quite honest. Speaking of fashion, I've gotta say, the peacoat he wears in his royal winter outfit is beautiful. Makoto is sneaky because, you see, she looks pretty well in uniform for the most part. At first glance, the only thing that's out of place is her vest, and even then it seems to fit with the uniform enough to the point that when looking up Shujin uniform on Google, the second result is a cosplay of Makoto's specific outfit. But there's more going on than meets the eye. And by that, I mean she's also wearing the wrong shirt. That's right. She's wearing a white long-sleeve turtleneck, yes, but it's not the Shujin Academy uniform turtleneck. Note the lack of bow or even the Shujin logo that the boys' uniform has. I'm going to guess that they thought the bow was too cutesy for her to be wearing, or something like that, but honestly I think this was a missed opportunity to throw in some extra subtle symbolism of her wearing the boys' shirt instead. I don't know, maybe it's a hand-me-down from Sai from her days at Shujin, but I feel like the Nijima sisters are the kind of people that pretty well take care of their stuff, so that doesn't make much sense to me either. Moving back to her vest, to me it's a pretty clear link to her outfit as queen and her leather chest piece. From both Makoto's winter and summer uniforms, as well as her casual outfits, but that's not what we're discussing today, we can see that she likes to dress quite modestly and covered up. Her skirt seems a bit longer than the other girls, she's opted to wear tights instead of socks for her winter uniform, and is wearing leggings in her summer uniform, in spite of Japan's humid summer heat. For her summer uniform, she's also, once again, wearing the wrong shirt, this time it being a high-necked blouse instead of the Shujin polo shirt. Trust that no vampires will be able to get to her. Much like Ann, she has also forgotten her suspenders, and at this point, I don't know why they decided it should be a part of the uniform, because we've barely seen anyone wearing them. She also isn't wearing socks with her summer uniform, presumably because it would have looked kinda clunky with the leggings, but I think wearing shoes like that without socks, especially in the summertime, is a very scary and dark-sided thing to do, and even though Makoto is my favourite character, and I love her very dearly, I simply cannot defend this behaviour. Anyway, for her third semester uniform, she is wearing the official Shujin winter coat. Yay for being in uniform, as expected of the student council president. If you ignore everything I've been saying for the past few minutes. Additional note, doesn't Makoto's winter uniform look just like this one outfit from the nanny? It won't come as a surprise to anyone paying attention that Haru is also very out of uniform. I think the cute and sweet pastel colour scheme she's employed to match her cute and sweet personality helps her get away with it more. Obviously, in her winter uniform, she's wearing a big pink sleeveless jacket, and for her summer uniform, we've got another Phantom Thief wearing completely the wrong shirt. Good job, everyone! Come to think of it, we can't be too sure that she's wearing the correct shirt for her winter uniform either, as we can't even see the top of the turtleneck, if there is one at all. Is she pulling a Makoto here, or is this just the way third-year uniforms are for some reason? We do have an image of her wearing it, but you never know. Haru's overall look is super girly, very 60s and preppy. Especially when looking at her patterned white tights, I can't help but be reminded of Gossip Girl and the way they dress up their uniforms, which makes a lot of sense considering Haru is a rich girl. I guess that's also why she looks a lot like Veruca Salt in the 2005 film adaptation of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Adding to the preppiness factor are her Mary Jane shoes, which on her in-game model look like they have a decent amount of height on them. Since Haru is quite short, I choose to believe it's intentional and she's trying to give herself a few inches boost. Honestly, I see Mary Jane's as the quintessential Haru shoe, and would very much expect to see a 2021 her wearing a pair of Nodaleto Bulla Baby Mary Jane shoes. Especially because they are so expensive, oh my goodness. Haru's socks in her summer uniform are actually a point of interest, as they remind me a bit of the loose socks that are a big part of Kogyaru fashion, although admittedly less starchy. Honestly, I'd be remiss not to mention the Kogyaru fashion culture in this video, as it's a major example of school uniform rules being bent or broken in Japan. If you'd like to watch a much more in-depth and informative video on the topic, I highly recommend watching Mina Lei's video on the Japanese schoolgirl. With all this being said, I would not at all say Haru subscribes to the Gyaru subculture, but it very well could have been an influence in some regards. Finishing up with her third semester winter uniform, we can see Haru wearing a cute double-breasted lavender coat with her blazer peeking through. I guess they're all more inclined to dress according to the uniform when they're cold. Black tights instead of her white starry ones, however they still do have a subtle striped pattern to them. And she's exchanged the Mary Janes for some super cute booties, which even more notably have a heel on them. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. If you're wondering why I didn't talk about Kasumi, well, honestly, I don't have much to say about her uniform discrepancies. And as for Futaba and Akechi, we don't see them wearing uniforms, so why would I talk about them? My original idea for this video was to casually rate all the girls' outfits, including the casual ones, so if you'd still be interested in that, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, I would appreciate you leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this in the future. If you're here because you like Persona, I have recently been streaming Persona 3 Portable over on my Twitch channel, and I'd love for you to pop in sometime and watch. I swear I will get edited down videos out soon. Thanks for watching!